Great. So back to back to some baseball stuff. Paul Skenes did it again. He looks like the real deal. My only concern with him, with how fast he throws, is obviously his arm.
Yeah.
It does make me nervous because he's young. However, they still seem to be limiting his outings. They're not letting him go too deep into games, which is good, I guess. But he had another 7 inning outing, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 Ks, and he had a 101.5 mile per hour strikeout in the 7th inning, and that is the fourth fastest by a starter that deep in a game in the Statcast era, which is very impressive. I mean, and it was funny. I don't know if you saw the video of it, but he got that strikeout on that pitch, and he even looked back and like checked the radar to see how fast he actually threw it, and then he just smiled as he walked off the mound.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
I mean, he's absolute gas. Just flame throwing. I don't even like. He's an alien on the mound. Like he
He
is,
is.
and like he's as much of an alien as guys like Ellie and Judge and so, like these guys that just do things that we don't see on a baseball field really. Um, and that's what Paul Skenes is. I mean, he's doing reliever things as a starter, which is insane. I mean, you just look at like a guy like Jordan Hicks. 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe whatever. Like Jordan Hicks comes out of the bullpen, he's throwing 103, and we're just like, oh my god, like this guy is insane. And then even last year, he was throwing 102 out of the bullpen for the Cardinals, and then he goes over and he becomes a starter for the Giants, and now he's kind of throwing 95, 96. And it's like that's what happens. Like you go to the bullpen, you ramp up the velocity, you become a starter, you tap back the velocity a little bit.
Yeah, because you don't have to go so
Yeah,
deep. If you're a reliever, you're just letting it all out.
not Paul Skenes though. Paul Skenes is just like, no, I'm just
No,
I'm just going to throw 102.
have you seen the videos of his like warm up to get ready?
Yeah, I have.
It's very intensive, and I feel like that's a big part of him being able to do that on a consistent basis. And I won't be surprised if I start seeing more guys trying to go that route.
Well, so I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm glad you mentioned the workout because I saw basically that whole routine because Trevor May, retired reliever, retired last year. He has a YouTube channel that I come across every now and then, talking about baseball and just like some random things. I think I've sent you a video of his one time where he broke down. He was a relief pitcher. He broke down like his every one of his plate appearances every time he came to bat.
Oh yeah, you did send me that.
And
Yeah.
his wife and his wife's friend were like making fun of him at one point. It was kind of funny, but anyway, he is a guy that came up in the majors and was throwing like 93, and by the time he retired last year, he was throwing 100. Like he could hit 100, not consistently, but he was averaging like 97.5 or whatever. And
Right.
somebody had asked him to make a video on basically how he added so much velocity, and he did. And he showed like some of the routines that he would go through that he did every single day that increases velocity over the course of a couple of years from an average of 93 to an average of 97. It was really interesting. It was a really interesting video. It's like 12 or 13 minutes, but he goes through and shows you all the routines that he did. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it. There's ways to get your arm to throw faster. It's just a matter of actually doing it.
Yeah, it's so much in your hips and your legs and like your base.
Yeah, using your whole body and not just your arm.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, Paul Skenes is incredible.
Yep.
Over under. If Bovada had like a over under for his career, how many Cy Youngs he's going to get, And let's say they set the over under at 2.5 and they're going to guarantee that he stays healthy. Are you taking over or under?
Oh man,
2.5 is a lot,
that that is a lot
but I think it's the right
because
number.
there's that would be a very tough number to judge on of whether it's over or under. The hard part is, I mean, not so much anymore, but typically the National League has the better pitchers. It with the universal DH, it's kind of changed in a way for some reason. But usually the National League is more pitch heavy than bat heavy. But man, he's so good, and if he can keep doing what he's doing, like right now, I mean, yeah, the Pirates are 3 games below 500, but he's keeping them kind of close and kind of in the mix. And obviously, there's other people too, like O'Neal Cruz is a badass. We've talked about, of course, I'm gonna blank right now. Brian Reynolds, like there's people on that team, like they're starting to put together a squad, but a lot of it has to do with Paul Skenes when he came up and actually started pitching for him. I would probably be the type to hedge my bet on that one and probably bet both of them. Go with an over and an under just in case. But man,
I would take the under. I think he's going to win 2 Cy Youngs, but
okay,
I could see him winning 3 or 4 if we knew he was going to stay healthy. I mean, obviously, with health being an unknown, like you would always take the
true,
under. But
right.
that's why I asked that if he like we knew he was going to be healthy, 2.5 over under. I think it's really
I'd almost,
close.
I'd be real close to leaning over just because of how young he is and how, like you said, if he did stay healthy the whole career, like you could keep going because it's not just his fastball. He's got some good stuff.
The what does he call it? The splinker,
Yeah.
which is
So
absolutely
like
filthy.
it
The
is. It
slider's
is.
filthy. The fastball is obviously you can't even see it, but and it's got movement too. Like that's the thing. It's not a straight
Yeah.
fastball. Like it has movement to it, which makes it even harder.
I could definitely see him winning multiple. It would be hard to win over 2.5, but I can't rule it out. You know what I mean? With how he's been so far. So
Yeah, we'll see how long until they trade him. Anyway, Pirates.